What's going on, everybody? Danny Boy with you, Mark Oldopsky, and of course the man, the pun master, Mr. Mike Rifkin with you. It is Batter Up right here on the Sports Sandy Network's YouTube page. We appreciate you, we love you, we thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning as we talk about the first weekend of baseball so far, at least. Baseball started technically like almost 2 weeks ago, but the real deal happened on Thursday, and we are so excited uh, that baseball is back in our lives for the next few months. The excitement of the season is here, ready to go, and boys, come in. It's tremendous.
Well, I can honestly say this has been one of the more exciting openings, and we've only 3 games into it.
Hmm.
We
Some books
knew
are
this
two
year was
games
gonna
into
we
it.
knew, well, we knew this was gonna be a special year for some certain teams, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what an opening for baseball in general this weekend, Mike.
Yeah, we've got some fun stuff. We got a lot to talk about. We have we've had some history made, particularly made by a team in New York who set two sets of records this week already. The New York Yankees. Let's dive in there. Austin Wells, opening day. First Yankee leadoff hitter to hit a leadoff home run. I believe that was history. And then yesterday, well, Nestor Cortez, let's just say he did not have a good return to the Bronx, and that Mr. Freddie Freeman broke Nestor Cortez because Dan yesterday the Yankees led off the game with back to back to back to back home runs.
Yeah, it was Bellinger and Judge on two straight pitches.
Mm-hmm.
It was devastating for Nestor, but incredible stuff for the Yankees. I'm not complaining. So it's like,
And Judge drives in 8 runs
man,
yesterday.
how about him? He's tremendous. Um, you know, he could have had 4 home runs, like 3 times. He could have had 4 home runs. But no, he goes for three. And of course, like Rifkin said, eight RBI. But just a tremendous day if you're a Yankee fan. Again, not really complaining here. Um, I will say the hitting was tremendous. Pitching remains to be seen. That was not a good pitching outing, but luckily the Yankees put up a 20 spot. So it's like, okay, then those 9 runs, don't really matter. You
By
know,
the way, if you're the Brewers, 9 runs is usually a pretty good day.
like
Yeah, you gave up 20. If you had Nestor Cortez in fantasy, I feel for you. But we want to dive into this because Michael K brought this up on the Yankee broadcast yesterday. This is from the Awful Announcing Twitter account.
we're going straight into it.
Oh, listen, if you want to dive into other parts of the Yankees, go for it. But I do want to acknowledge this, and then we can get into it. Michael K explains that the Yankees have made new bats where they moved a lot of the wood into the label. So the harder part of the bat is going to strike the ball. That's from the Awful Announcing Twitter account, quoting Michael K on yesterday's Yankee Brewer broadcast. All right, Mark, you wanted to talk about this. too. So I'll start.
So,
Let you start
of
it off.
course, you know,
Oh, hold
we
on.
be
Dan
oh
is
oh, thank you.
showing us the
Okay.
pictures of the bats.
So the controversy is, and you can see the difference, is in the way the bat is constructed. The complaint is that the bat is now heavy front, where all the weight contains right on the barrel, where on the sweet spot. So you get a piece of the ball, it's going to go, as we saw yesterday. However, there is no rule in the book that states that this cannot be done as long as the bat still meets all major league requirements. There is going to be an investigation on whether the bats are legal. Now, here comes the question of questions. If the bats were deemed illegal to use, what do you do about those first games? Are we replaying them? Are they being just wiped out?
Well,
It
what would make them illegal if they're just moving the wood?
See,
yeah.
that's the problem. I've looked at it both ways. And from the standpoint of the rule book, the bats are not, as far as I can see, unless I'm missing something, are not a problem. But
See, if baseball had a rule, and I don't think there's a rule unless there's the corked bat, Sammy Sosa.
that's Sammy Sosa.
You know, I unless there's a rule that I don't know saying every bat has to be the same.
Mhm.
I
See,
don't see an issue with it. Is it maybe a bit of gamesmanship? Sure, but I don't think it's illegal. And
well, the re-
I
all
think
right, go
the other
ahead.
thing it'll do, it might say to other teams, okay, we're now going to try to do
Yeah.
this.
And that's the thing, like, look, I looked at this yesterday. For first of all, Michael K, shut your mouth. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, who told you to say that?
Come on now. You caused up a stir on the internet for no reason. Um,
This is why Gary, Keith, and Ron are better than you two.
yeah. In any case, I mean, look, if the Yankees broke a rule, baseball would have stopped this already. Um, Look, I think the fact that they still played within the rule book with this newly made torpedo bat, as they're calling it,
That is, yeah, the quote name, yeah.
Launch the
and
torpedoes.
and they're still within the rules, and it's legal, and baseball knows about it. Like I really don't see what the problem is, and I'm with you, Rifkin. Like if the Yankees are doing it, it's going great for them. I think every team should try it. But specifically, they did it because Volpe was always hitting the ball right at the logo.
Oh, the
So
Yeah,
label.
so
was
they
one of
moved
the
the board
article
towards
marks,
it so
yeah.
that every time it can hit anywhere
Mm-hmm.
across the bat, it will be it will be struck well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be in a jam and it'll still be struck well. Which is
Look, not to take anything away from the Yankee hitters who went 1, 2, 3, 4. Any of those guys could have done it, whether the bats were changed or not. I have no problem with that.
yeah.
I think Mike and Dan answered the question perfectly. Mike by saying that if the bats are legal, then all teams should start experimenting with it. The difference being is the Yankees have a little bit of a head start and have had time to perfect it. Hey,
More power to
baseball
you.
is as long as it is not breaking any rules, which I can't find any personally.
Mhm.
But this is going to be talked about until a decisive answer. But you got to play both sides. Obviously, if the bats remain legal, there is no change. Nothing else is going to happen, yada, yada. But if the bats were to be deemed illegal, The question becomes what happens to those first games.
and we
And
all
that will be the topic if they are deemed illegal.
and the
One
other
thing
thing though we know is when the weather is warmer, particularly in the Bronx, the ball will carry out.
Mhm.
And as I said, any of those guys could hit home
Right.
runs with wiffle ball bats. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's not a
and
problem.
yesterday during the game it was a warm afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday was a I think a more mild day. That's why you didn't see the ball carry as much. I I can't see anything being illegal, but I do know one thing: even if they were, I don't trust Rob Manfred to do well in a controversy, i.e., Shohei Ohtani last year. So I think either way, it's going to stand up for the Yankees. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's legal, but I do, Dan, want to hit on your point before is Max Fried made his debut yesterday, and he couldn't get himself through 5 innings. Although Carlos Rodon was pretty good opening day, so
Both, but Rodon was okay. Um, Freed, I'm worried about because he's supposed, and I feel bad because Freed was not brought here. Even the Yankees gave him a boatload of money. He was not brought here to be the ace. He was brought here to complement the ace. And the ace's staff is not here right now. So now he has to be the guy. That's a lot for someone that was not supposed to be the guy. So I do feel bad on that front. But, Max Fried, you're supposed to be a low ERA pitcher. And look, it's one game of the season, but I know you're not, I know he's also not a big strikeout machine, but
no.
still, it should be enough where, you know, minimum 3 runs a game. You know, the ball's gonna be in play a lot, so the Yankee defense has to come through. And um, so far, I'm not really seeing that. But
Again, two games into the season, so
yeah.
I'm not going to push a panic button. Um, I do want to make this note also: the Yankees and Brewers will play their final game, their series today, and then the Yankees will then play. Who do the Yankees play during the week, Dan? Do you know?
They have I know that they eventually have the Pirates um at some point. Their next is the Brewer. Is the sorry the
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks. Sorry,
Oh,
Arizona. They're
yep. Arizona goes to the Bronx Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Yep.
yes,
Tuesday, Wednesday,
and then the
Thursday.
Yankees are on the road next weekend in Pittsburgh.
And the Brewers will go home and they'll host the Royals. We'll get into that when we do the series the week ahead. The Yankees open up with 3 interleague series. That's kind of weird.
It's dumb.
I listen.
It could get the Yankees in trouble. Like I want to face the American League. You know,
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Sticking in the AL East yesterday, the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Blue Jays pitcher Max Scherzer left the game. There's a lat injury. He's getting on the injured list. And Mark, we
That's
talked.
it.
Mark, we talked about this over the winter because there had been some indications maybe the Mets were interested in a reunion. This is the struggles for a 40-year-old pitcher, and I'm not knocking Max Scherzer. He's a future Hall of Famer.
All very well and good. But the man's also 40 years old.
Yeah.
What else do you?
What do you
You're
need to
not
prove?
close to any major record. I understand one's competitiveness and wants to keep doing what they're doing. But this is again another injury to him for the fourth consecutive year in the beginning of the season. And we all know a lat injury is not a simple 10-day fix. A lat injury normally is going to sit you 4 to 6 weeks. So this is a guy who at one time was the pinnacle of pitching. He is now the Joker of pitching.
That's a little unfair.
Retire.
To be the Joker, that's a little unfair. He's been hurt. Um, no, Scherzer's done. I mean, I get why he wants to keep playing. And look, I'm not gonna tell him to stop playing. If he wants to continue pitching, let him. But you have become so unreliable. It's it's getting funny. Like it's really starting. You're starting to become unserious here. You know, and again, like, I respect the hell out of his game, but dude, like, let's let's end things. Like, it's over. You know, we get it. You're a great pitcher, or we're a great pitcher.
I mean, $16 million for 3 innings.
216 wins. Like,
I mean, it should be a lot higher if he stayed healthier.
no. But think about this. Because you brought up he's not close to a milestone. Because let's be honest, we'll probably never see a 300 game winning pitcher again. And he's not close to 300.
Yeah.
But what else? You've won a World Series. You won multiple Cy Youngs. You were one of the most dominant pitchers of your generation. And now I don't want to remember you for the end. I want to remember you as the dominant pitcher that you were in Detroit for a time, that you were in Washington. You know, I don't want to remember Max Scherzer, the guy who pitched 5 games for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2025, even though it's going to be on your Hall of Fame plaque that you pitched in Toronto. I don't want to remember that. Similar, let me be frank, it's similar to Justin Verlander. No offense to Justin Verlander, another future Hall of Famer, but his time as a Met, I'm not going to remember because I'm only going to want to remember him as the ace of the Detroit Tigers and the guy who, no offense to Dan, put the Astros over the top. So it's hard to watch these guys not just get older with the injuries, but it's hard to watch them just fade into obscurity.
Yeah. It doesn't make it easier that these young big time up and coming stars, so young stars that are already a part of the league, they're torturing them. They're torturing these pitchers. You know, it does not help.
And by the way, they were these young guys.
Mm.
They were flamethrowers early, and then they learned how to pitch.
I remember Verlander's first season. That was brutal. Brutal be Yankee fan then.
Oh, he was dominant. I still remember. And I'm going to bring up an old wound for myself and for Mark. I remember 06 and being like, if the Mets played the Tigers, the Mets would have won that World Series.
Yes.
And then as you go forward in time, because I think 06 was his rookie year, he just became more and more dominant. And so, look, it's not a knock on those guys. We I don't want to say we love them, but we appreciate what they did for the Clayton Kershaw too. The three of them. Kershaw, who knows when he's going to pitch this year, but he intends on pitching for the Dodgers at some point. But the three of them, we don't want to remember you from when you were 40. We want to remember you from when you were 25, 26, and lighten it up in the prime of your career. So just wanted to acknowledge the Scherzer thing. And then there's the LA Dodgers, who, let's just say, if you're the Detroit Tigers, thank heaven you're out of Los Angeles because you couldn't catch a break. Especially the other night with Mookie Betts hitting that walk off shot.
But that was a nice walk off shot.
Oh, they are. It's great that baseball has a villain again, because baseball hadn't had a villain since the evil empire of the Yankees. The Dodgers are the new villains of baseball, but they have some of the most unhateable players on their team. And Mookie Betts is at the top of that list for me.
When people say they hated the Yankees,
They hated him.
They hated the Yankees. They respected Derek Jeter,
Oh, yeah.
but they hated the Yankees.
They respected everyone, but they just hated the fact that the Yankees would spend all the money.
Yeah, no, I mean you're spot on there, Mike. That I love Mookie Betts. I love Freddie Freeman. I think Shohei Ohtani's overrated, but I still love him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, this Dodger team, I right now it is becoming like one of those great dynasties that's like brewing up,
Mm-hmm.
and it could get better. That's the problem. It could get better.
And you don't want things to get worse. I mean, eventually players are on the Dodgers are going to reach their
But here's
final
the thing.
walking course. First of all, being with Freddie Freeman, probably be the first of them to go. But there'll be plenty of pickings out there for the Dodgers to replace.
That's if the Dodgers continue with status quo. I don't think the Dodgers are going to continue with status quo. I think their analytics department, along with the puppet and Dave Roberts, I
Mm.
think they're going to adjust. They will adjust well. Now, will they win the World Series every year? No, but they will adjust well. Like they're not just gonna sit around and allow these players to get old and then, hey, look, we're gonna have 40-year-old Mookie Betts on the field. Like that's incredibly irresponsible. They'll find ways. The Dodgers will always find a way to be relevant and to always be in the championship conversation.
What they could say is similar to what Steve Cohen can do at times. Trade off these guys as they get older and such, and say, hey, Team X, you want this player? We're going to pay the rest of the salary. Just give us a better prospect or such as they get a little bit older. And the other part is they have one of the better farm systems of the league too, because Andrew Friedman is a genius, and it's insane how smart that guy is. So they have the biggest payroll. They have a great farm system. They have the best general manager in the game. By the way, they're going to land every superstar Japanese free agent because of Ippei Mitsuhara
Mm.
and Shohei. But they're going to land every Japanese. So it just the rich get richer. By the way, we'll get into the week they have this week because they're going to have some fun this week, the Dodgers. But I've got something I got to get off my chest before we continue. today's Sunday. We do the podcast and then you get ready for the day. Usually that means an afternoon of baseball.
Reach.
Well, for us Met fans, there's no game today.
Brutal.
And why is there no game? Because Friday night, the Mets played. The Mets played interleague series with the Astros Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the reason they played Friday, because that was not originally the schedule, the original schedule was Thursday, off day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is because the Met game on Friday night had to be on Apple TV. Enough. Enough. Because I don't have Apple TV, I couldn't witness a top 10 moment in Met history when Juan Soto hit his first home run. Because I don't have Apple TV, I couldn't yell at Tyler McGill when he walked the batter.
The idea of putting national sports onto these streaming platforms, it isn't a bad idea, but you don't black out the state the teams are playing in. Let what in the case of being New York, you let SNY or even Channel 11, WPIX, run the game on a simulcast. I agree with Mike. I was as infuriated as anybody else that I didn't get to see Soto's first home run. I had to watch it on my computer. I understand we're moving into the streaming age, so to speak, and there's a lot of money there to be made for anybody from tit to tat. But you don't black out the state it's in.
I think, Mark, you just hit the nail on the coffin. It's the fact that we're not asking for it to be, even if it's the Yankees, we're not asking that the Met broadcaster, the Yankee broadcasters do the game, even though everyone loves Gary Keith and Ron. We're asking for the ability to not have to pay the Apple TV or whatever streaming service it is and let us just watch the game as a stream. Simulcast it. Do what you can. That way, the fans are the ones who lose out on these deals. And that's generally going to hurt everything. And it just bothers me that this Sunday afternoon, the Mets aren't going to play. So
And
instead, I'm going to watch a lot of.
the part that sucks, because these Apple TV games used to be free. Now you actually have to pay for Apple TV,
Yeah.
which is just brutal. Brutal.
And if
Not
Apple
everyone can
TV,
afford every streaming service.
At some point, like, you know, there has to be some solution to getting all these streaming services, man, because, you know, we have to do something about that, because there's no way people are going to continue paying, these free services. And Mark, you're spot on, my man. If the customers within the NYC tri-state should have access to a Met game, whether it's on Channel 2, whether it's on Channel 4, 5, 7, 11, even Channel 9. I mean, Channel 9, I know Channel 9, no one watches it anymore. But, like, something. Channel 55,
Give
the Long
us
Island
something.
station,
Yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't, it is irresponsible to allow a paid television service to allow to have exclusive access to a game, and yet teams within the markets that they're playing in or that are participating, excuse me, have no access on free over-the-air television.
Right, and that's where
it
it
is
becomes
it's irresponsible by baseball.
right. I mean, we've seen it. Netflix has now got wrestling. Amazon has dabbled in football. The streaming age is fine. There's nothing wrong to stream the game so other people can see it. You just don't wipe it out in the state that it's being done. That's all.
I'll say this though on the NFL and Amazon, at least in the New York area, you don't have to put on Amazon Prime to watch the Thursday night game if it's the
Right.
Jets or the Giants. It's always on Fox or whatever as a simulcast. Baseball should look into it. And by the way, these are multi-billion-dollar industries. There's no I know we live in this corporate age of greed and whatnot when it comes to money, and you want to always hurt the consumer. But there comes a point in time where the games are getting too expensive to go to. All we have left is the televised version of the game, and now you're starting to take that away. So it's a bad job.
The only if you want to call this a compromise for lack of a better term is that these games are available online if you have
Yeah.
MLB.TV, but
But by the way, MLB.TV
MLB.TV,
opening day had its issues.
yeah, exactly. So, but that requires a subscription to that too. And I mean, if you're a T-Mobile customer, you're might be a little too late to get that for free. But people who are not T-Mobile because they have to eat up what the $120 a year. Did you? I forget what the year cost is, but you know, it's a joke. It's a
Yeah.
joke.
Oh,
And also SNY, you got to stream on the MLB app. Like, what the heck is that about? Like,
It just doesn't make sense. That's all. I
I
mean,
think what they're doing is they're putting
yeah.
every local broadcast is going to wind up on the MLB app. So if people are traveling,
And that's what I was trying to tell my brother because he was confused as to why as well. I said baseball's trying to centralize their streaming, and we don't realize it. They're not telling us. They're trying to centralize the streaming services to one place.
yeah,
And look, while there'll never be a situation where baseball has that standalone service like MLS does on Apple. They won't have like that season pass where everything's on one place. What they will do is they will take local broadcasters and they'll merge everything all into one app. It's already being done. The Phillies already do it. The A's already do it. It's imminent.
hmm. How many A's fans do you think actually watch on those apps?
I'm sure there are plenty.
Are they Sacramento A's fans, Vegas A's fans? Where we talking about?
Well,
Well,
they're pretty much like a shamrock, you know, small, green, and split three ways. I mean, there you go. I
About the A's, they've won two out of the first three against the Mariners.
they look good so far.
we're talking playoffs here already.
And Max Muncy Jr. That's what I'm gonna call him.
By the way, the
First
Max Muncy Sr. was also an A. Let's not forget. Oh, oh man! All right, let's dive into the series for the week, and then we'll end with a little bit of trivia because I got some cards here.
Oh, you
Yay.
got some.
I got some cards. All right, let's dive into the series for the week. We start AL East. Dan two two of your bitter rivals. The Red Sox are going to go to Baltimore and play the Orioles, who, by the way, have been crushing it the first couple of days offensively.
Yeah, but it's a shame that they're only 2-1 though. Like, but whatever. The O's will take it.
The Red Sox, I think, have won two of the first three. They get Jacob DeGrom today too. He makes his season debut for the Rangers.
Yep.
Oh,
Or
all right, Mark. We got the Rangers and the Reds.
It's time for a little breakout for Ellie De La Cruz. It's been a little quiet. I'd say he has a big weekend. Look out for the Reds this weekend to take out the Rangers.
Mm. All right, then we got some interleague. We got the Giants and the Astros. I'm going to presume Verlander starts one of these games for the Giants. That's what it would look like. I don't think he pitched in Cincinnati.
No,
So
he
that
did
should
not.
so that should be an interesting return for him. Uh
or I saw Verlander on the mound, but
Hold on, I will double check that in this now. But the Astros, look, uh I thought, Mark, the series they had with the Mets, very a very competitive series. And the
It what? Sorry.
difference the difference being, oh, I'm looking for the Giants. That's who I was looking for. Being they got some clutch hits. So
You look at all three games. Neither one of them were a blowout on either side. The Mets didn't blow them out when they won. The game was decided by, Griffin Channing being in a little longer than he should have been, and he gave up that long double to Jordan Alvarez.
who, by the way, everyone's given up a double to Jordan Alvarez.
Right. I mean, it was a great start for a rookie pitcher against a team with so much experience. It gives you a little hope for the future. As for the Mets, bats not being there, the bats are there. They hit some hard strike balls, but the difference was instead of it being on the ground or whatnot, they hung up or they were hit right to positionment. So I am not upset with the way they start the season because the bats are hitting. It's only a matter of games before it all comes together.
And you were right. Verlander pitched yesterday. I did not realize
Oh,
that. So
okay.
I did not realize they were going to have him start the second game of the year. But all right.
Neither did I.
And then we get the Guardians and the Padres. By the way, how about the series the Padres are having against the Braves right now? I mean, do you want to talk about competitive baseball?
It's good to see the Braves actually have life in them, even though they're still missing that
Strider.
their catalyst and their pitching. But you gotta like it that the Braves are putting up a nice fight considering how down they are.
That Padre lineup is going to be lethal.
it's more dangerous than I thought.
Yeah. Well, as long as Tatis and Machado stay healthy, they should be good. That's going to be the ultimate thing. And then you mentioned the Braves, Mark. It doesn't get easier for them. They're going to go to LA and they're going to play the Dodgers.
Yeah. And they're gonna get spanked, which is nice.
Oh, you want to talk about not an easy lineup, 1 through 9, cheese. And then next weekend, the Mets will have their home opener. They'll play the Blue Jays.
I kind of like is that it's against the Blue Jays being the home opener. I kind of like that because if Vladdy wants to, he can choose just to stay in New York and hang out for a year, and then we'll take him afterwards.
Two of the first 3 series being interleague play. And to Dan's point earlier, the Yankees' first 3 series being interleague play, it's just insane. I know everyone plays everyone, but man.
Yeah.
All right. We got the Padres. They'll head to Wrigley. They'll play the Cubs next weekend. And then the showdown. Dodgers go to Philly. They're going to play the Phillies next weekend.
It's going to be a
That
fun series.
that might be an NLCS preview.
I don't want to. You can't really judge a team by the third game of the season, but I want to see those games not blowouts. I want to see them as competitive as they were last year. I don't think that'll be the case because most teams are not ramped up yet or are ready to be playing at those levels yet. But still,
Oh, I mean, just that should be a lot of fun. Then we have an American League playoff rematch. The O's are going to go to Kansas City. They're going to play the Royals next weekend. And then NL Central showdown, the Reds go to the Brewers. By the way, the Brewers crushed the Reds last year. That was a big part in why they won the NL Central. So those are the series to watch over the next week before we're back with you next weekend. But at some point during the month of April, we're going to move batter up to a second day during the week. We're just working out the kinks on that one. But as I said, I got some trivia.
yeah.
Shout out TJ Maxx. Bought these cards at TJ Maxx.
Okay.
And Dan, whichever one of us wins, we get Mike's next 3 paychecks.
Sure. I can use it.
I mean, whichever one of you wins gets a free kick me sign to put on Moser. That's what I'll give you. All right, Mark, I will start with you. Give me a number between 1 and 5.
3.
All right. What left-handed pitcher threw the first no-hitter in the history of the Miami Marlins? Or Florida Marlins, if you want to.
Say that. Wait, for the Marlins?
What left-handed pitcher threw the first no-hitter in the history of the Marlins?
Was it Leiter?
It was Al Leiter.
Yeah. Had to
All
stop
right.
and think.
Dan, give me a number 1 through 5 that's not 3.
2.
All right. On June 13th, 2019, who became the first Japanese-born player to hit for the cycle in a major league game?
Shohei?
Shohei.
Yeah.
I would have thought Ichiro would have hit for the cycle.
Yeah, or someone like sooner, like a Matsui, or
Yeah.
Not Kaz Matsui.
No.
the
Godzilla.
he wasn't terrible,
No. All right, Mark. 1, 2, or 4.
Let's go with the wife's birth month. 4.
What Red Sox player won back-to-back American League batting titles in 1999 and 2000?
Garciaparra?
Nomar Garciaparra.
He was the best player for a long time.
Oh. Remember those shortstops? It was him, Jeter, A-Rod.
The
It was the
end of
batting
Cal
glove thing
Ripken.
that used to drive me nuts.
who was the best shortstop in the league?
And you couldn't go wrong with any one of the 3.
Yeah.
Correct.
A-Rod, by the way. But yeah.
All right, Dan, 1 or 5?
5.
What outfielder led the American League in singles for 10 straight seasons from 2001 to 2010?
What outfielder?
Led the American League in singles for 10 straight years from 2001 to 2010.
Ichiro?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, Mark.
Hmm.
Last one on the card. What slugging team of the 70s was known as the Lumber Company?
Oh, that's the Cincinnati Reds.
No,
Oh, it's the St. Louis Cardinals.
it is not.
It's neither one. Ouch.
Nope. You want to throw something else out that's wrong?
Ouch. I'm
Sorry.
wrong.
Yeah. Dan, do you want to take a guess on this one?
The 70s, you say?
70s.
American League or National League?
National.
Pittsburgh Pirates?
Dan got it. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Wow.
Okay. All right, Dan, give me a number 1 through 5.
4.
4. What player produced both the first hit and home run by a Met player at Shea Stadium?
Ouch. Oh, gee, that's I should have picked something else.
I did not know this either, so I'm gonna be honest.
Uh, Mets player first hit and home run at Shea.
Yeah,
So we're talking circa 1964.
yeah.
Um, is it someone we know?
I've heard the name.
You've heard the name.
If I give you a hint, I believe he was a second baseman. I could totally be wrong though.
I'm throwing out a guess here. I don't even know if he was on the team. Ed Charles.
It is not Ed Charles.
Okay. Sorry, I forget what position he played.
I listen. I have no idea either. Mark, do you
I'm
know this?
thinking.
Okay.
And I could be racking my brain here for the next hour, so I might as well just hear it.
Ron Hunt.
Ron
I would
Hunt.
not have gotten that.
No chance.
No.
All right, Mark.
Cinco de Mayo.
All right. One of my favorite holidays. Dodgers. Oh, I'm sorry. Despite pitching on only 2 days rest, what Dodger pitcher shut out the Twins in Game 7 of the '65 World Series?
Koufax.
Sandy Koufax. One of my favorite Simpsons lines is the kids give Krusty the Clown a dog. And he's walking down the Jewish Walk of Fame looking for his star. And he tells the dog to go to the bathroom on Koufax because he didn't pitch
On
on what was the day? It wasn't Rosh Hashanah.
good. I'm glad you got that part right. Yom
Yom
Kippur.
Kippur. And he goes, I did 5 shows that day. All right, Dan. 1 through 3.
1.
Hall of Famer Randy Johnson was selected 36th overall in the 1985 draft by what team?
I have 2 in mind. I'm gonna go with the Montreal Expos.
You would be correct, sir. The Expos originally drafted Randy Johnson. Didn't the Expos also originally draft Pedro?
Yes.
Yes.
Man, imagine that rotation. Pedro and Randy Johnson.
And if you ever look at Pedro when he was on the
He was a
Blue Jays,
skinny.
he was a stick.
Yeah.
He
For
was
the longest time. Now he's kind of a fat ass, but
he was a stick figure back then.
Pedro
Oh,
Pedro was like very handsome looking.
Pedro could pitch. Pedro could pitch. All right, Mark, 2 or 3.
2.
During his 42nd season with the organization, This is easy. Brian Snitker earned NL Manager of the Year honors, leading what team in 2018?
I'm sorry. Oh,
During his 42nd season with the
oh,
organization,
that's what I
Brian
missed.
Snitker earned NL Manager of the Year honors, leading what team in 2018?
That was the year I had my 14th concussion. So, can
I mean,
you
this is
believe
a
I?
dunk.
Can you believe I can't think of the answer because I don't
Oh
know?
my man. All right. Save you the embarrassment. This is the Braves.
Cox.
No. Brian Snitker, the guy now.
Oh no, that's who it is.
Yeah. All right. Dan, what is the record number of career wins that made Warren Spahn the winningest left-handed pitcher in Major League history?
So you want the win total?
Want the win total?
Career is it career win total or
His career wins, and just to let you know, Warren Spahn won more than 300 games, so it is north. It is in the 300s, but it is north of the number 300.
340?
No, Mark, you want to take a shot on this?
367.
So close. 363.
363. See, I wouldn't. I was not even close.
All right. Do one more card and then we'll go from there. All right. Mark, give me 1 through 5.
Let's start it with three again.
On April 14th, 1910,
Oh yeah, just when I was alive.
you said it, not us. What U.S. president became the first to throw out a ceremonial first pitch before a major league game?
1910. Taft.
William Howard Taft. All right, Dan.
2.
2. What team once featured a bullpen tandem known as the Nasty Boys? Shout
Oh.
out the Nasty Boys as well, the wrestling tag team.
Uh,
Are they the guys who have a cereal named after them?
That's the New Day.
Oh,
The Nasty Boys were back in the 80s and 90s. They had a great theme song. We're the boys.
so
We're the
you
name.
want the names?
No, just the team.
Oh, the Reds.
The Reds.
Yeah.
That is correct. All right, Mark. 145.
one.
In the movie Million Dollar Arm, the Pirates signed 2 novice pitching prospects from what country?
India.
India. All right, Dan, 4 or 5.
Great movie, by the way.
5.
All right. What veteran's 10th inning walk-off homer for the Mets closed out the 1999 National League Division Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks?
Oh, scream at me if I get this name wrong. Todd Pratt.
Todd Pratt is
Pratt.
correct.
Remember watching that on TV.
I was 6 years old and I have no memory of
Oh,
it.
I remember watching that on TV.
Uh,
Steve Finley jumped the fence and I thought he
And
caught it
he couldn't even believe it went out.
because Todd Pratt, who was Mike Piazza's backup catcher.
And
All right. Mark, a farm machine accident when he was a kid left Hall of Fame pitcher Mordecai Brown with what nickname?
oh, I should know this. Don't know.
3 Finger.
Definitely not what I ever would have guessed.
All right. So yeah, I got these cards. We could do more of this throughout every batter up that we do. But that'll do it for this edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Mark, you want to bring up anything with the dugout?
Right now the dugout is a little quiet as we are currently in the process of moving a lot of wrestling product. But if you want to watch and see and make some offers, you can go on to our YouTube page and rewatch the break. Have some cool redemptions coming in and some cool ones here before they go out. So if you have any interest, check us out. Write me here at www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com.
You can also check that break out on the Face Turn Facebook page it was posted on. You'd also follow the network on Facebook and Twitter as well at S Insanity Real. Again, you can check out the YouTube page, which we are live on. Dan and Bill do SIP live on YouTube as well now.
We just had our 400th episode, and that's up.
Just
And
did
if you
the
want to,
just tried to ruin the 400th episode. Check out the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all next week here on Batter Up, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the last two Elite Eight games today in the NCAA
yes,
tournament. Some of us still have a chance to win some dough.
have a chance.
Have a chance. Take it easy, folks.